Welcome to the channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the SD1952 SteelDive 55 or 50 fathoms homage. This watch has been on my radar and I've had a couple of requests to review this. So this came in. Let's see what this watch has to deliver. Before I continue, if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button. Join the channel, support the channel, it is appreciated, and be a part of the subscriber base. Please also check out the description. There'll be some interesting links there for you, like the AliExpress store, which I am affiliated with, so I get a small commission from AliExpress if you do choose to purchase anything at all. You don't get any further cost to yourself due to that. And please also see the link to my eBay store in the description. I'll apologize beforehand if you can hear any drilling or any works going on. My neighbor is getting his loft conversion done at the moment, so there might be a few sounds in the background. Right, let's get into the review. By now you're all familiar with the packaging, of course. Very robust, solid bit of packaging. Got your SteelDive card printed with individual numbers. I chose this SD1952 on the leather strap. Just wanted to do something different. It's worth noting at this point, they do have quite a few variants. They've got a bronze variant with the nuclear fallout logo, and they also do a bronze variant with a golden or yellow lumed indices on the dial. They've also got the normal stainless steel versions with a no logo option and a date window option. The date would be at the 4 p.m. position. Before we go into the detailed review, let's cover the dimensions. It's a 41 millimeters diameter with a 15 mil thick case and a 52 mil lug to lug. You've got a 20 mil lug width for the strap, and the weight of just the actual watch case is around 92 grams. Specifications: the usual SteelDive mix, NH35 hand winding and hacking movement. The NH35 does come with a date function, however I've got this no date version. You also get a top hat sapphire crystal, and you get a ceramic bezel insert with a, check this out, 360 click bezel. I'll get to that later on. You've also got a screw down crown, which does provide the watch with a 300 meter water resistance. Specs and dims out the way. Let's first take a look. I chose the no date version because I looked at the original Blancpain or Blancpain, not really sure how it's said. You can tell how much research I do on the other watches. Yeah, whatever. And this looks closest to the original. So you've got the same bezel style. It's a flat bezel. I believe, I'm not too sure. I didn't see any side pictures of the original. I don't know if it comes with the top hat sapphire, but you have similar dial indices, and you've got more or less the same style of hands along with the crown. So the crown is this really nice bullet tipped crown. You can just hear me hand winding it. Let's get some power in the watch. So the one click is useless to us right now because we don't have a date function. And then you can just hack it, stop the second hand, and change the time. As you can see on the dial is a flat and matte black dial. You've got your indices, your Arabics at the 12, 3, 6 and 9, which look to be all lumed and printed, but they are slightly 3D. You also have the SteelDive logo at the 12 and automatic 300 at the 6 o'clock location. I didn't want to go for the date version because obviously this looks the way it is closest to the actual 1950s diver. Another reason was the actual date window. I prefer my date windows to have a actual frame or a border around it. And looking at just the pictures, your eyes kind of glance over it, and I find that it was at the 4 p.m. or 3:50. It gets in the way of the dial, so I opted out for that one. And the no logo version, again, away from that. I just don't like a plain dial. However, maybe on this it would have looked okay. So away from the dial, you've got the minute track printed around the outside. There's no chapter ring within the case, but you've also got the seconds track, which you don't see very often, and that ties in with why the bezel has 360 clicks. So flat ceramic bezel style, and you've got this fine tooth style bezel, almost like a sawtooth bezel. And check this, amazing. That's why I call it a 360. I'm pretty sure it's not meant to sound like this. It is awful. This website lists it as 120 clicks, but as you can see, it's all over the place. There's a clear fault with the actual bezel mechanism, and it's not just this watch. I think it's across the board. I have seen another review out there where this was, that's horrific. This was the problem with the bezel. Now, I spoke to SteelDive. I said, guys, you need to sort this out. They're not looking to sort it out anytime soon because they work by batches, so they'd work on normally a 300 to 500 minimum order quantity from the factory, and so they've got to wait for the stock to finish. But it has been a strong recommendation for myself. As you know, I do have a working relationship with SteelDive, which means they don't give me free watches. I actually purchase watches, and I kind of distribute or resell for them within the UK, Europe, and US. So yeah, that is, the grip on the bezel is great because it's so fine. Slightly sharp. I don't know if you do, like, it could scratch your skin, I suppose. But that noise, I can't get away from it. Is it a deal breaker? I don't know. It's a tough one to say. It depends how much you like this watch and the style. It's too early for me to say. However, I'd say it is a very, very important part of a dive watch. And right now, that is just absolutely awful. It's going to be difficult to get past that, to be honest. And then the actual design of the case, it is really well made. Solid 15mm thick. So you've got brushing all around. You've got brushed lugs, brush sides, the back of the case. You've got the SteelDive logo with the specifications engraved around, and you've got a curved back case. Looks thick, and the thickness really comes from that top hat sapphire. Now this is a true top hat, as you can see, or they call it a box crystal, where the edges curve, and now this looks like it was meant to sit on top. I'm linking this to the SD1970, where I don't think that's fully top hat, it's just sitting above the bezel. So the case has very decent polishing. It is smooth. You've got a slight edge at the end of the lugs, which could do with really smoothing up a bit. And I mentioned the crown. It's a bullet tip crown. I do like that. Yeah, I opted for the leather bezel, the leather strap. Sorry, the leather strap. A very thick, suede style leather strap that I went for. You can also put it on anything else, obviously, whether it's NATO, a paratrooper, or you can just get a aftermarket steel bracelet. The one thing which I am sort of doubtful about is the actual lug to lug. If you've seen my videos, I'm always saying with this, you know, I've got a 6.5 inch wrist. If you've got a wrist with those small dimensions, 52mm lug to lug is quite difficult to get away with. So I'm interested to see how this sits on the wrist. So as you can see on the wrist, it sits okay, but where you see the lugs, they're coming out quite a way. So I would say this is slightly too big from for a 6.5 inch wrist. Maybe 7.5 inches you could pull it off. You know, that being said, feel free to wear what you want. If you really like the watch, wear it as big as a watch that you want. Just ask all the Invicta fans. But you know, if you want it to look proportionate and you want it to sit right, then I suggest you stay below the 50mm lug to lug. Some other people prefer that even smaller. The 41mm diameter is fine. It's within the standard range that you get in your divers. The only other time I've seen where you can't actually pull off a longer case is, just bear with, I did a review and I've owned a Seiko GMT Kinetic, the Sun 019, etc. If you have seen that. Now that is a very large watch. I think the diameter on that is around 46, and the lug to lug is, I believe, around the 52 mark. Now the only way they can do that is the case on the Kinetic does curve down at a larger angle, so the lugs are curved down a bit more, so that pulls them in slightly, so it feels like it's wrapping around your wrist. So the straighter the lugs, the harder it's going to be. These lugs are slightly curved, so I suppose that's why I think it's a bit borderline. Personally, like I said, 6.5. This is not for smaller wrists. Let's see how the Lume's doing. From the pictures, what I can tell, the SD1952s, most of the variants, they do have really good Lume. So let's see what this Lume is like. So as you can see, you've got BGW9 Lume around the bezel insert, and you've got a Swiss C3 illuminated dial. So all the individual indices, 12369, and the indicators around the 510 and 1203, sorry, are illuminated. Pretty decent Lume, bright. Again, it looks evenly painted, and you've got the hands and the second hand appear to be slightly brighter, but no issues on the Lume. It is quite a pretty Lume, and you can see, one thing to know, if you look around the edge just between the bezel insert and the actual dial, where you've got these small dashes that go across, that's due to the refraction from the crystal, and I think that does give it quite a pleasant look. To summarize, I'd say let's start off with the good points. So you've got a very well built case, and in terms of design wise, it is very close to the original Blancpain watch. You've got great, you know, use of material, so it does come with a great spec. I do like the top hat. I like the whole dial. I see, because they have homage the original, so I've got no issues with like most of the watch. My biggest qualm is, which I think it would be the same for most of the people, is that bezel. It is, oh, it's quite bad. Yeah, it's probably the worst bezel action I've felt on any watch, and the same with, you know, actually this is the worst from SteelDive. Now I don't know what they were going for here actually. If they were going for a bezel that hits, I don't know, every minute or every second, I don't know. If you get it working right for a split second, it sounds fine, but that bezel is definitely not for me. It's the worst thing they could have done. Other than that, I have no issues. As mentioned, you do need kind of a larger wrist to make this look proportionate on the actual wrist. So, and I believe this issue has been out on this watch since it first came out. So this watch has been out for a fair few months, and I think it's something which they need to be proactive about. I don't get it if I've, given a design to a factory, I want something made, this is my first sample. One, feel of that, I'd give it back to them until they can improve it. Now, I don't know why it's so different. Maybe the mechanism is slightly different. Who knows? If somebody does know, if somebody has opened this out, then please put something in the comments if there's a possible way to adjust it to make it a lot better. I think if that issue gets fixed, then it would be a very decent watch, and it will tick the boxes for those people that do like the original design. And the one with no logo looks great as well. So that's all I can say about this watch. And then I think that brings it to the end of the review. Please subscribe, like, dislike, whatever. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. And thank you for watching. Until next time.